Okay. I'm going to do this in a very objective way. I'm going to critique this video by this guy named Dave Pakman. I have not heard people critique him. Actually, I have. He was on the Joe Rogan Experience, and he was not very well liked. I've heard him on other shows, and am I a fan of him? Well, once again, I'm not going to give him my persuasion. I plan to be as respectful as possible. Okay. Now here we shall begin. He's going to talk about how a Biden economy would be what's best for the economy. Okay. A Biden win would be great for the economy. Okay, let's look through this very slowly. I'll pause it when I get to the talking points I want to get to. But my phone is not too slow this time. When it's slow, it makes things very difficult. I'll have to rewind to the beginning. Hey, let's go, phone. Let's go.
When you have a Democratic, we have a new report out from Goldman Sachs.
You can see
the
what
report is shocking a lot of people, and I don't know why. The report says that if Biden wins and there is a blue wave in the Senate, if there is a big picture blue wave led by Joe Biden defeating Donald Trump, Goldman Sachs says it would lead to a surge in economic growth. And I see people acting, oh my...
All right, first of all, let's notice what's not a good argument. Can I disagree with Goldman Sachs? Yeah, I can disagree with Goldman Sachs. As a matter of fact, Fox Business and Forbes magazine are stating that it is going to be a bad result for the economy. Okay? So the fact, him saying that Goldman Sachs is going to be great for the economy, I can disagree with Goldman Sachs. That's not a good argument.
A Democrat, it would be good for the economy? I'm so shocked. No. If you've watched my show for a while, you would already know why. Democratic presidents are better for the economy. Goldman wrote in a...
You already just said Democratic presidents are better for the economy. Sounds pretty partisan to me.
Yesterday, that Democratic control of the presidency and of Congress would raise the probability of a fiscal stimulus package worth at least $2 trillion. But it's not just that. Longer term...
Where would this fiscal package of $2 trillion come from? He just said a fiscal package of $2 trillion. Where is it going to come from?
Spending measures that Joe Biden wants, like infrastructure, climate, healthcare, education, that boosts economic...
Infrastructure, healthcare, climate, education. Okay, infrastructure. First of all, where is that money going to come from? Where is it going to come from? Does it come from taxing the rich? If it is, the rich tend to pay more taxes when their tax rate is lower. When it gets higher, they will find ways not to pay it. They might get tax-exempt securities to go around. They're going to find ways to become tax-exempt. They might leave. They might produce less. There are ways that the rich will not pay taxes if their taxes get higher up. And climate. What about nuclear energy? As you've seen my previous arguments, climate change, nuclear energy. Infrastructure, do we need it? Infrastructure. Education, if there's no school choice, what does that mean? Healthcare, like I said previously, government spending on healthcare. You can watch my previous videos about that.
Growth prospects, according to Goldman Sachs, assuming that the Federal Reserve doesn't mess with interest rates until we get back to full employment and inflation just above 2%. Goldman Sachs estimates that, quote...
Okay, assuming the Federal Reserve does not mess with the interest rate and we get back to employment. So you may have not just heard what he said, but he said assuming something is getting assumed.
The net effect of the Biden package would be a front successful, for example, in raising the corporate income tax rate from 21 to 28, maybe that wouldn't be so good for markets and for the economy. There's debate there, but would that even get passed? It really depends on what happens in the Senate. Now, on the positive side, Goldman also says if we get a blue wave in November, we will likely have easier U.S. fiscal policy, a reduced risk of trade escalation, and a firmer global growth outlook. We call it stability when Donald Trump is.
Now, what do those things actually mean when Donald Trump is gone? Stability when any of those things are gone. Yeah, and he didn't even. What's a PC? You notice he's not defining any of those things. He's pretty much just parroting the article. This guy.
But none of this should surprise you because the country does better economically under Democratic presidents. I talked about this 15 years ago. I talked about it 10 years ago. I talked about it 5 years ago. I talked about it in June. This is not about whether Democratic presidents are left enough or really progressive or what. This is merely about looking at a totality of indicators when you have a Democratic.
Okay, this guy is very partisan. We're going to get to the totality of indicators like he's stating. He thinks that Democratic presidents are always better for the economy. This guy.
President versus a Republican president, and it's better under Democrats, so why would it be any different under Joe Biden? Let's look at those metrics. Typically, we would look at GDP growth, unemployment, stock market performance. Then there's other, intangibles like respect around the world. You can look at poverty, inflation, different elements. Stock market. Average annualized return when you have a Democratic president is 14.3%. It is 10.8% under Republicans. The stock market does about 40% better under Democrats.
Where's he getting these numbers from? Where's he getting them from? At the end, there's going to be a surprising point where we're going to find out where he's getting them from. Is he citing sources? I don't think he's citing any sources right now.
Democratic presidents. But that's not the economy. What about GDP, gross domestic product? Through 2008, real GDP grew faster under Democratic administrations than Republican, 4.1 versus 2.7. If you were to extend those numbers...
How much of this depends on the president? How much of this depends on other factors? Is he listing other factors besides the president? I don't think he is. He's not.
First to today, Barack Obama had better GDP numbers than Donald Trump. So it remains GDP and stocks better with a Democratic president. What about income growth? Well, under Democrats, real median income over the last...
Did he just list Obama and Trump?
Per year. Under Republicans only. If you were to extend those...
He just listed Obama and Trump. And he thinks there's a definitive rule, Democrats better than Republicans with the economy. I know I talked during the recording, so I'm going to backtrack a little bit.
Grew faster under Democratic administrations than Republican, 4.1 versus 2.7. If you were to extend those numbers to today, Barack Obama had better GDP numbers than Donald Trump. So it remains GDP and stocks better with a Democratic president. What about income growth? Well, under Democrats, real median income over the last 50 years grew at 2.2% per year. Under Republicans, only 0.6%.
He's going to say only 0.6%. But where is he getting these numbers from? Is he citing any sources? I don't think. He's not citing any sources.
So there you've got wages. On the flip side, unemployment has been 18% higher under Republican presidents. Since World War II, job creation, Democratic presidents have seen 24 million more jobs created on their watch, with an average of 78% more jobs created per year of a Democratic administration than during a Republican administration.
How much of this has to do with the president? Is he naming particular policies that they're doing? Is he saying how?
Bloomberg looked at U.S. job creation and found that for the close to half century following the Kennedy administration, Democrats have created, wait for it, nearly twice as many private sector jobs as Republicans, even though
Saying Bloomberg thinks that way does not mean it's true. I can disagree with Bloomberg.
Democrats have had the presidency for 5 fewer years during that time.
What if it was an effect in which a Republican had done something, then it was residue from the Republican administration, or not residue, and then it was from the Republic, of course not residue, then it was from the Republican administration that economic growth had come.
None of this is new, and none of this is news. This is the reality. And we see Republicans maintain almost a monopoly on the reputation of being good for the economy. How many Republican governors have actually destroyed state budgets? Look at what happened in Kansas.
He only calls out Kansas. Only Kansas has been called out. And does he cite anything? I don't think so. He didn't give a date. He didn't give a year. He just said Kansas.
If you've been following the data, you would know that this is merely a lie. And even
What data is he referring to? Where is he getting the data from?
non-economy, Trump's numbers are worse compared to Biden's than most Republicans. Again, there's this idea.
If Biden hasn't been elected yet, how can his numbers be worse than Biden's? If Trump has not been elected yet, where's he citing this from?
That Republicans are better for the economy. They are not. When they say Republicans are good for the economy, what they mean is Republicans will cut regulations, and it'll allow companies to make money by polluting, companies to make money by taking advantage of the environment.
Nuclear energy. Green New Deal is going to kneecap the economy. We need to implement nuclear energy. CB Jean Lamborg also. Nuclear energy, I'll show you the TED Talks also.
Taking advantage of employees. That lets the very rich get slightly richer.
He's not naming anything in particular. Was it minimum wage? What makes them take advantage of employees? Minimum wage? Minimum wage causes people to be unemployed. Would you rather be employed at less than minimum wage or not employed at minimum wage?
But it's not so good for the economy overall. What Republicans say we're good.
Not so good for the economy overall. How generalized can this guy speaking get?
For the economy because of small government. They mean we will cut education and we will cut welfare.
School choice, welfare, incentives not to work. What is the point of increasing educational spending if school choice is not involved? What if the teachers strike like they are in some districts and the students can't go to school? Where did the spending go to? Do we know where the spending is going to? Under school choice, there is competition among schools which incentivizes the schools to do better.
But we will keep writing blank checks to the military budget. We'll pay farmers to grow nothing or to destroy crops.
Where's he getting that from, that they're writing blank checks to the military and they're paying the farmers to destroy nothing? Where's our food going to come from, and who's going to protect our rights if we get invaded by another nation? And where is he getting information that they're blank checks? Blank. Is he using hyperbole?
We will continue this failed idea of what it means to run an economy. It is all horrible code. It's immoral code for really bad policies that help the very rich but aren't so good for everybody else. It's great that Goldman Sachs put out this report, but it's not actually newsworthy because if you've been paying attention for the last however many years, you would know that this is a false notion that Republicans are great for the economy. We'll have some of the data I mentioned today on our Instagram page, okay? So make sure you're following us on Instagram.
Some of the data mentioned on some, not S-U-M, not S-U-M, S-O-M-E. Some of the data he mentioned on his Instagram page.
At David Pakman Show. And while you're there, follow me on Instagram for a break from politics. It's puppies, books, and what else? I don't know. A lot of that. On my Instagram, David.Pakman.
I did not like that at all. And I commented like I was Republican. I was also trying to be objective. And he did not cite any sources, hyperbole, and only some